Pop Punk and Pizza podcast is presented by Pop Punk Takeout, which is a monthly subscription service that delivers merchandise from pop punk artists from all over the world directly to your door in a takeout box. So go to poppunktakeout.com right now to subscribe, or I should say also follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Pop Punk Takeout.
I'm going out, I gotta go. I'll bang a rang on the radio. So turn it up, I'm telling you. I think I'm ready for something new. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.
You're listening to Pop Punk and Pizza with Jacques Lamour.
Hey, hello, and welcome. It's so great to have you here. You know, grab a seat, grab your favorite beverage, and dig in. Grab a slice. I'm Jacques Lamour. You know, one thing I really miss doing on the show, and it's been several months at this point, is every month I used to do what I call a 10 songs episode, where I would pick 10 songs that I really liked, put them on a playlist, but then also play all of those 10 songs on an episode of Pop Punk and Pizza for you. And then you'd have 10 new songs to jam out to for the month. And then once the beginning of a new month came, I would do the same thing all over again. And I haven't been able to get back in the routine of doing that just because it takes so much time to comb through all the song submissions I get. And I also like to give a little blurb about each song. And it's been hard for me to do that since I started a second podcast on the side. A lot of my extra time goes to that, but hopefully we'll get back to that. The reason I bring it up, introducing our guest tonight, is one of the many incredible artists that was featured on those 10 songs episodes. And if I'm not mistaken, this one dates all the way to January of this year for our 10 songs for January 2021 episode. So if you want to go back and check that out, I'm almost positive it is. Maybe he'll remember, but I am pleased to welcome Mike O'Leary from a band called A Tiger Made of Lightning. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hey, Jacques, it's good to be here.
Good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. So, do you remember if it was January that we played Exhausted on the podcast?
I believe so. I believe it was really early in the year because it came out in fall 2020, but then I think you guys finally played it.
Well, no, I mean,
time.
I was combing through like old emails, and I think, let's see, I had it pulled up here, but it looks like,
I'm pretty sure it was January.
yeah, because you had sent me a message the end of November. And then I asked you if I could play it in January. So I guess it wasn't too long after. But yeah, Exhausted was the first single for A Tiger Made of Lightning. And that was, what, October that it came out of last year? It's already been a year. And it's kind of funny that we're back. It's a year later, and here we are talking, you know?
Yeah. That's great.
If I remember, weren't you taking the proceeds from Exhausted and donating them to an organization in your area of Ohio, right?
Yep, that's right. I was donating them to LSS Choices, so Lutheran Social Services. It's a shelter for survivors of all kinds of abuse. So just trying to help give back a little bit.
Was there any like personal stories attached to that? Was there a motivation from a family member or a friend?
So in my day job, I'm a therapist. So I work with a lot of folks with trauma and recovering from trauma. So it's just something that's on my mind a lot. And just I wanted the music that I write for A Tiger Made of Lightning and the efforts that we take to be an extension of that. I think just taking the idea that we have a platform, and I want to use it to help the people that need it.
What I'm sure you have to be so busy right now. I imagine most therapists have been slammed since the pandemic.
Yeah, I've definitely. I mean, I went all virtual for, I mean, almost a year and a half, and I never lost any momentum. If anything, I think I built a caseload even bigger than I had before. You're totally right. I mean, I think everybody's got at minimum low key trauma experiences from everything at best. Um, and I think it's just, I'm sure you could attest to this too. I just feel like whatever issues were already there for people, it just plugged it into an amp and just cranked it all the way up.
Yeah, it did for everyone, and I think and it's still going on to this day. Um, that amplification, I
Hmm.
think people are even more exhausted. Not to put a pun there, but
I
I
mean,
think they're even more
yeah.
exhausted. Looking back, October 2020 to October 2021, I think there's even more exhaustion.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that point at all, unfortunately. I mean, uh, think some things have gotten better, and then some things have gotten kind of hopeful, and then there were those like 2 or 3 glorious weeks in what, June, July, where we were like, oh, things are okay again, and then we're like, psych. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that I don't know if it's gotten. It's hard to say. I think it's still there. I definitely think it's still there, and but that's where I think the silver lining is I think a lot of us have had to step back and evaluate things and say what really matters to me, what am I spending my time doing, who am I spending my time with, and are those things worth my time and energy? I like realizing that our energy and our time are valuable. And I think I've seen a lot of people, myself included, really step back and say, okay, I need to intentionally put my energy here instead of here. And that's where I think people are becoming less exhausted. At least I hope so.
Eh, Gosh, I would hope so. I was talking to someone the other day and referring to 2021 being exactly like 2020, but just with trying to make things happen, like
Mm-hmm.
actually doing activities and events and you name it, just trying to throw that all in there while all the world's still a complete mess. And I think that's where the exhaustion comes in because it's like we want
Yes.
things to be normal, but it's at the same time the world's
Yes.
not ready for that.
Right. I completely get it, and I think it's bad enough that the virus exists, and then it's also really bad that it's just kind of further made the rift even further between all the factions involved without getting too into it, and and
Well,
and,
we
and I think
should because if you read a Tiger
yeah.
Band of Lightning's bio, it says emo bullshit or something
Oh,
like
emo
that.
political bullshit.
Emo
Yes,
political
yes,
bullshit.
yes.
So yeah, what is emo political bullshit?
So when I was writing Exhausted, there was a person that I considered a friend that uh, didn't want to, wasn't a fan of it, and said referred to it as emo political bullshit. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm using that forever now. So that's it.
Dude, that's great. That's that's so that was their way of giving it a a bad review.
I guess.
Are you still friends with them?
N- Not really. But as the aforementioned, where does my energy need to go and where's the best place to take it? I mean, that was a very clear fork in the road, and made it pretty easy. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And even though you're not friends any longer, at least they gave you a nice pardoning gift. Because I
Oh,
really
sure.
like the the emo political bullshit.
There will be a T-shirt, Jacques. There will be a
There will,
T-shirt.
I would hope so, man. I feel like that should just be on everything you guys
Well, it
do.
it will be it'll be our T-shirt design number 3. We have 2 designs right now, and I just once we recoup some of those expenses, I'll get that one made.
I was
So.
looking at those before we went live on this podcast, and I
Mhm.
was like, ooh, like I gotta get one of those. I really like the lion or the tiger, excuse me. Well, it wouldn't make sense if it was a lion.
It's
My
okay.
God, that would be funny though.
That
You're
would be
a
hilarious.
tiger made of lightning, but it's a lion
That would be some
symbol.
top tier trolling for sure.
But I like the actual tiger face design, and then the lightning bolt is obviously very simple and fitting as well. So,
Yeah, and I have some very talented friends. I'm hashtag blessed. So yeah.
well, let's get to we're talking about exhausted, and at that time was it literally just you? Because I remember
Mhm.
it was either when you sent me your first email or when I was looking up some information. It was just you and no one else. And
Yep.
so how did that creation come? Did a tiger make made of lightning come out of, you mentioned earlier, like rearranging or uh,
Hmm.
putting energy in different places? Is that kind of where it came from?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I knew what kind of music I wanted to make. I had no idea how to record myself at all. So in June of 2020, I invested in some very simple recording equipment, and I got some ideas out. Exhausted had already been sort of recorded at that point, and then I was like, I know what I want this to sound like, so I took it to a local producer named Will Carlson, who's phenomenal, and he got it exactly. He figured out what I wanted very quickly, and we put it out by October. So,
Okay. So it sounds like it kind of came together fairly quickly.
hmm
And you
yeah.
did what so many people that I've talked to or have read about 2020 hits, and all of a sudden we've got this blossoming of all these new artists and new bands and new songs. And it's such a beautiful thing to have that during such a chaotic time.
hmm Yeah, it
Um,
really is. I mean, I think another thing that I've been trying to talk to my clients about, and I think I'm seeing lots of other people doing it on their own too, is this renaissance of rediscovering things that brought people joy before things got in the way. So I see a lot of people finding things to tinker with, whether it's recording their own music or, everybody's making sourdough bread for a while.
yeah.
People are. I started playing D&D for the first time ever.
Really?
Uh, y-
I'm trying to, I think it was Mike Fisher? No, Christian Fisher?
Christian, yeah, from Settle Your Scores.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
he's a big D&D guy, and I think
yeah.
I
I
can't
bought dice
remember.
from him.
Did you really?
Yeah, I bought, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so you picked up D&D in the middle of
Yep.
this. How did you? So you must have been playing it virtually though, right?
Oh,
With,
for sure. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
We played
during
on
COVID.
Discord. Yep, we played
Yeah.
on Discord. So I started playing that probably December of 2020. I was never allowed to play it growing up because Satan. Um, I grew up in the peak of satanic panic. So
Just like Harry Potter, I
oh,
would imagine.
absolutely. It was
That
yeah,
was
that was evil too, and
that was banned from your house.
oh, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, but I'm grown up now, so I can do what I want. So
So, okay, well then, that's kind of Harry Potter. So was literally Harry Potter something you were banned from reading or watching?
okay.
What happened when it came to music then?
Oh, I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music. Yeah, I grew up with. So I was really fortunate to be growing up around the time of Tooth and Nail Records, and
Okay,
so
yes.
I had a bunch of like kind of watered down versions of popular artists that were Christian until I discovered Tooth and Nail Records in Solid State and all those record labels whenever I was a teenager. So I got exposed to Five Iron Frenzy. I got exposed to Blindside. I got exposed to MXPX. I got exposed to Under Oath. I got exposed to, so, I mean, the Juliana Theory. That was my first taste of emo. Um, so, I mean, just a lot of really, really, I would say legitimately good bands. So,
And did your parents they must have questioned that. They're like, "This sounds evil."
oh, for sure. But I would just show them the lyric sheet. So my parents are still disciples of like Dr. James Dobson. They focus on the Family Guy, and
Oh man, I
they had
remember
this
that.
right, and they had this magazine that came out that was called Plugged In, and it did reviews of all this like media.
Okay.
So, and they didn't like anything. Um, so I remember I wasn't like they were trying to get me to not watch the show Boy Meets World. I remember that was like
Oh
they
yeah.
did, but I was like, that's one of the most wholesome shows.
It is, and I wouldn't I don't know this for sure, but I almost want to say like wasn't the creator of that show pretty Christian? I
I don't
mean,
know that, but I would imagine so. It's very of that ilk. So
yeah, I mean it never talks about worshiping God in there, but everything else it's almost like I always felt like the show said said that without saying it.
sure, Full House was very similar.
I guess I didn't watch enough Full House to catch on to that. But
Oh, that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Similar, like that kind of family friendly ABC TGIF in the 90s kind of show.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever watch those my mom got us there was a film, I don't know if they were a production company or what, but I think they were called Feature Family Films, and
okay.
they would literally call us up every once in a while.
Okay.
They'd call my mom to tell her about these new movies they had coming out and if she wanted to, buy a copy. And they would
Okay.
explain to her what these things were about. So, and it was all, it was like wholesome. I think the company was Christian based, but I want to say it was
Sure.
called Feature Family Films. And
Okay.
I'm trying to, I wish I could remember some of the titles, but I'm just curious if possibly your family dived into to that company as well.
I don't know that for sure, but I wouldn't doubt it for a second. I
There
might
was
have to.
one of the movies was called Buttercream Gang, I think.
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
yeah, does that sound familiar?
that sounds really familiar.
Yeah. Um, and there might have been, I think there might have been
I'm looking that up
multiple.
later. I'm
Yeah,
looking that up
dude, look
later.
it up because just from like what you're telling me, it sounds like something you possibly,
Oh, for sure. There were a lot of
yeah.
movies about like drugs are bad and and like a lot of abstinence based movies, things like that. So
So what was your reaction to these restrictions? Was it for you? Was it lashing out? Did you accept it?
I mean, I didn't know that I could. I grew up with a uh, really super like restrictive, repressing parents. My mom was so they're boomers. So like my mom was very like overly emotionally needy, and my dad was very stoic, John Wayne wannabe kind of guy. So I was kind of scared of him, and I was afraid of my mom shaming me into doing whatever. So I just like played. I walked the straight and narrow, but my rebellion was when I had a chance, I would record songs off the radio.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
record or I would try to read about the bands that were popular when I was growing up, and I remember they would find these things and just grossly misinterpret the lyrics and then destroy the tape, or they would destroy the CD, uh or they would throw the book across the room. I remember I had a book about Nirvana that they found. I borrowed it from a friend because
Oh man.
I didn't know who Kurt Cobain was, and then he died, and I was like, "Well, who's Kurt Cobain?" And everybody's like, "What is wrong with you?" And
Yeah. How
so
do you not know who Kurt Cobain is?
yeah, and
Yeah.
so I got a book about Nirvana that a friend let me borrow, and they were like, "I can't," yeah. So that's how I grew up. So my big rebellion was listening to non-Christian music. That was my big thing.
Okay. I yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before on the podcast. I remember my parents not not like over the top, but there were times where they would take away my oldest brother's some of his CDs, and I think I remember one of
Sure.
those CDs being Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh well, sure. He's the Prince of Darkness, so
Yeah, Prince, right? And I want to say Korn, Limp Bizkit,
oh
because that was like
sure.
the new metal.
Yeah, probably Slipknot's first album. Yeah, sure.
I don't think I don't think he ever had Slipknot, but I know he had Korn, he had
Okay,
Limp Bizkit.
sure. Yeah.
I remember they took one of the CDs they took from him was one of the Offspring records as well.
Oh, sure.
It was either
Yeah.
their first major label debut or it was the second
My
record
guess,
after that.
based on what I know about Offspring, I'm guessing it was Smash because it had a
It
self-esteem on it,
probably was Smash.
and it had the "you stupid dumb shit,
Yeah,
goddamn motherfucker."
motherfucker, yeah. Yep, exactly. So,
Yeah.
that wasn't flying at
Oh
all.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah. So, but so then growing up, I mean, obviously before A Tiger Made of Lightning, what were you doing?
I mean, I've been in a bunch of bands my whole life. I mean, I've been in bands since I was 14. Since I started learning how to play guitar, I've always wanted to express myself that way. I've always wanted to write songs. I've always wanted to connect with people, via music. It's always been really important to me. So, uh, a lot of, alt rock into emo, into punk, into I was even in a band that was doing in like the early 2000s that was more along the lines of like Block Party. It's like the more dancey kind of stuff, minus the bear. I love minus the bear.
Okay.
And then I got back into punk. But I have mostly leaned toward punk and hardcore and emo too. It's always
What
been kind of my thing.
what were some of the bands? You're in the Columbus,
Yeah.
Ohio area, right?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what were some of the bands you were in? I'm just wondering if, since we're
Sure.
relatively close, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if there's possibly some that I might recognize.
So I grew up all kind of. I grew up near Pittsburgh, and then I spent a
Oh,
lot
okay.
of my like growing up in Western Pennsylvania, and then I was in Philadelphia for a while, and then I moved to Columbus in 2009. So I was in a band called a Zero Complex was the one I was in Philadelphia. That was the dance rock band. Um, I was in kind of like a weird mixture of like dance rock and punk called what are we called? They've gone to plaid. That line from Spaceballs.
Okay.
And then I was in a band called We Are the Movies for a few years too.
Okay. My
They're a Columbus band.
yeah, none of those sound familiar.
Okay.
I was just I thought maybe they would, but I'm
Oh, it's okay.
racking my brain. I
I,
can't think
I'm
of
Look. I'm small potatoes. I get it. It's fine.
my no, you're all good. My very loving girlfriend and assistant Lizzie says she looked up feature family films. She says it no longer exists, but here is a
Thank
list of their
God.
movies.
Oh
Thank God.
man.
And she said you can also read their Better Business Bureau complaints, which is kind of funny. Oh man,
That's
I'm gonna
fantastic.
th- thank you for looking that up, my dear. I'm gonna have to yeah, I'm gonna have to look up that list. I wish I could click on the link from the comment, but for some it doesn't allow me to do that. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
I'll have to shoot you that link later, and maybe we can you know find some common ground on that. By the way,
I have no doubt we will.
Alex says hello. Is Alex in your band?
Yeah, he's our bassist. Hey, Alex.
What's up, Alex? I was gonna say I thought I saw someone named Alex share the post about the live stream not too long
Yep.
ago. So how did you start off A Tiger Made of Lightning? It's just you. Was it the intention just to be you, or what was the original intent?
When I started it, I had no idea. I just wanted to keep making music, and live music just wasn't an option. And so I was like, you know what? I have to learn at least how to make demos good enough for me to send them to people to say, can we make this better? And they go, yep. That was my goal. And so, I did Exhausted, and then I felt really good. I felt that the reception was really encouraging. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on an EP, and I I got to work on that, and I just spent a lot of time just taking my time, just trying to make the songs as best as I could, and I really wanted them to be really truly me, and really truly what just kind of the culmination of what had been thinking about since Exhausted. I wanted to be kind of a follow up. If Exhausted was, wow, we've really been through a lot. I wanted It's Chaos Be Kind to be, this is what I've learned. So
And the follow up to that was
yeah,
Little Birds, right?
yeah.
Which was perfect. Um,
Well, thank you.
it it kind of rounds things out.
Hmm.
And it's a beautiful song written for your both of your daughters, right? You have
Yeah,
two
yeah,
daughters,
yep.
and how old are they?
They're 8 and 6.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you kind of uh, used your they inspire you, obviously. You have kids, they always inspire you. My
Yeah.
son definitely inspires me to just be a better person and be
Oh yeah.
more kind, because it's like you're I don't know what your parenting experience has been like, but um, I'm not perfect. I've definitely parenting has had its struggles here and there of things I'm trying to teach him, and sometimes my patience has been thin, and it's like, well, that's not good to show him. So
Yeah.
it's like it's like how can I expect him to be patient and not get angry if I'm not doing that?
Yeah. I mean, exactly. And it is really hard. I mean, parenting is the hardest and most rewarding thing I've ever done. I mean, I feel like it's such a trope at this point, but it's true. I mean, I became a man the day my first daughter was born, and I've been striving to be a better one ever since, in large part because of that.
And so when you decided to sit down and write this song, what was some of the first things that came to your mind? What was the first parts that came together when it came to Little Birds?
The chorus was the first one. So my daughter's names are Fiona Wren and Thora Lark. So they bird middle names. So they've just always been our little birds. So um, my wife Jamie's always referred to herself as like Mama Bird. So it's just bird has been kind of in. I have bird tattoos for them. And so it's just kind of been there, and the chorus came together really fast. It came together honestly. I started working on that around the time Thora was born. So that was 2015. So I had the chorus, and then um, I had the "This world won't do you any favors" part. Just remember what you learned about how everything's connected and to make every second count. I had that pretty quickly too, and then I sat on it for a really long time because I was just like, oh, it's too sappy, it's too personal. I was in a band at the time, and I had played it for them, and they were like, meh, like they didn't, they weren't interested, and I get it, like it wasn't for their kids, and I wasn't
Yeah.
the front man, um, so I sat on it for a long time, and then when I started to Tiger Made of Lightning, I was like, well, I mean, this is the time to do it. So I knew this was going to be the next single after Exhausted. Um, so that was the song I finished first.
And I would not have expected a song like that after Exhausted. I would have expected something similar to that. So
Sure.
the fact that you're pretty much out of the gate, brand new artist, and you're giving us that variety, it says so much about you as a songwriter and says so much just about now the band, which by the way, Colin says he's here as well, or Colin. Is it Colin or
Oh,
Colin?
it's Colin. It's not Colin.
Okay.
It's Colin. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do know
Hi,
I do
Colin.
know someone who goes by Colin and they
Yeah.
spell it that way, so like I wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
Oh no, it's
But
okay. It's definitely Colin. Yeah, he's our lead guitarist. He's a great dude. Thanks
what's
for
up,
tuning in,
Colin?
man. So,
um,
yeah, go ahead.
no, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I really appreciate that. I wanted to come out of the gate with kind of a sledgehammer to the face, because the other one was a sledgehammer to the face, but like it was more of a sledgehammer to the gut. You know, uh,
Absolutely.
obviously it was kind of like this big epic, not ballad, but but just this big epic song, and I wanted this to be big and epic too, but I wanted it to be more joyful. I wanted it to be again like the if Exhausted was where I've been. I wanted It's Chaos Be Kind to be what I've learned. So Little Birds was just a kind of a reaffirming of like I can be a good dad or I can be the best dad I can be, and thank you for reminding me to do that. That's kind of what I was saying to my girls.
Gosh, I'm getting I'm wanting to tear up now just thinking about it. And my son's not with me tonight, so I'm like, oh, like
Uh
it makes me just want to give him a hug, you know.
we'll do
Just
it.
thinking about I mean, maybe I'll see him. Well, I think I see him tomorrow. I can't remember, but
Okay.
regardless,
How old's your
he's
son?
he's 4.
Oh man, that's a fun age.
It's
So they
been
say
so much fun.
that's what people say at any age they are. Oh, that's a fun age.
Yeah, they do say right. They said that when he was 3 and when he was 2, and it's like
Yep.
it's all fun depending on how
Yeah,
you look at it. Hopefully, I mean,
exactly. That's
fingers
exactly
crossed.
right.
Fingers crossed it keeps going that way. But
I
it's
will say, I will say, 8 and 6 are super fun because they're starting to read. They're starting to really get into their friends in a way that they haven't before. And so
hmm
I'm hearing about all their little secret clubs they've made, and I'm hearing about all the books they're reading and all the games they're playing together. And I'm so excited for these kids to be able to get vaccinated soon, so we can actually have like play dates and sleepovers. So I'm really excited for them. But yeah, it's really fun to just take all that in.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Every I just try to appreciate every single stage the best I can,
Right.
because it usually moves on. Like right now our
Hmm.
stage is like well, he's been obsessed with trains for a long time now, but right now it's particularly about the Polar Express. So so right now we're like watching Polar Express sometimes multiple times a day. And so we're going through that that whole
Yep.
thing.
Yep. I
So
totally get that. Yeah. That's really great. I mean, that's that part of Little Birds. The I need to take in everything and pay attention to the moments and cement them in my brain. Like that's exactly where that comes from.
and
So I get
others
it all.
others were so moved by it as well. I mean, I know Yahoo News picked it up. So many other there was a lot of press on that song.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. I mean, Yahoo News, Scary Mommy, Eliza Broadbent wrote. She found it. I posted it on one of the pop punk groups on Facebook, and she found it. And she's a writer for Scary Mommy, and was like, "Hey, do you want to do an interview?" And I was like, "Yep." And then they syndicate with Yahoo News, so that was huge. And then Jesse Lee from High Road Publicity. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know him, but
Yes.
it's one of my favorite TikTokers. He doing that got a huge response. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I had
I'm really grateful for everything.
yeah,
So
yeah, I had seen that as well, and he compared you to Broadside, I think, right? Is that
yeah, that was very high praise. That was really cool.
Yeah, who doesn't like Broadside, man? For sure. But your let's get to your latest single though, which just came out here in like the last week or so. I think
Uh-huh.
this would be a good opportunity to talk about that, and then we can
Yeah,
actually play the song as well.
let's do it.
So it's "Chaos Be Kind" is the name of the song, but that's also actually it's the title track of
It's the
the
title track.
EP. Yeah. And once again, you're really good with with the timing is so fitting with your song titles. When "Exhausted" came out, it fit the world perfectly, and now you got well, it's "Chaos Be Kind."
Hmm.
It's just a wonderful reminder in my eyes to just be kind to anyone that comes in your direction because you
Yeah,
don't know what they're going through.
yeah. I mean, so it's Chaos Be Kind is from a Patton Oswalt comedy special. It was something that his first wife said to him when he would get overwhelmed with the world and how stupid things are. Um, and man, that just always stuck with me because I'm always trying to think about what I can control. I'm trying to help my clients take energy away from what they can't control and put it into what they can. And we can control if we're kind or not. We can control what we appreciate. Like, we can control where we put our energy and our time. And, despite how chaotic everything can be, what is within our control? What can we do to be the best version of ourselves? What can we do to help our community, our people, or the people around us, and make the best of things?
That's perfect. And this song features, is it Micah?
Micah, yeah.
How did you get linked in with her?
So I used to work with her mom when I first moved to Columbus. I had a job at a mental health center there. She's also a therapist, and so at that point when I was working there, Micah's 18, so she was like probably 7 at the time, and so I didn't really know her at that point. And so after I left that job, her mom and I were just, Facebook friends, and she would just post things about her daughter just singing, and I was like, whoa, she's got pipes. And then, so fast forward to about 2018, she's in high school, she's got a band. My band at the time had an EP release show, and I was like, you're gonna play that show with us. And
Awesome.
And so they played the show, they crushed it. So I've just been kind of like, not mentoring them, that's not the right word, because that sounds way too pretentious, but like, I don't know, just trying to be like their,
Just
like,
being
big
helpful.
brother. Yeah, just their big brother, just trying to help them out and stuff. And so we've been friends, and then and I've always thought Micah has such a great voice. And so their band is called Forever Unknown. Check them out. They just put a single out a week or two ago called Manic Pixie Dream Girl, and it's so good. But so ever since I left that band, I knew, I was like, I want Micah to feature on something. And so when I wrote that song, I was like, this is perfect. I kind of modeled that song after that, It Means a Lot, If It Means a Lot to You by A Day to Remember.
Okay.
But I was like, but what if Phoebe Bridgers wrote it? And then had some guy with a gravelly voice sing it.
There
That's
you
what I
go.
want it to sound like. So
Nice. I think you pulled it off, man.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and listen and watch.
Okay. Sounds good.
For as long as I remember, shove my feelings in a cage. Never safe enough to share them, so I internalize my rage. When I finally had the chance to take my life into my hands, had no idea why relationships would crumble into sand until I learned to see that what I missed was right in front of me. We don't choose where we come from, but we choose where to go. It's okay to be broken, it's okay not to know. When I'm looking for answers that I can't seem to find, I just have to remember in this chaos be kind. It's chaos be kind.
When I think of all the memories that I don't want to relive, it's so easy to do nothing and much harder to forgive. Will I ever tell the difference between pain and medicine? Will this aching brain consume me? Can I refuse to give in? Slow down, step back and breathe. Can't let this world distort reality.
So I'm just gonna end this by quoting Michelle Eileen McNamara. It's chaos. Be kind. Thank you.
You got me right in the feels once again, man. Because I watched that earlier. I listened to it earlier, and I feel like watching and listening like the second or third time around, I feel like I got the feeling even just a little bit more in that
Hmm.
song. It's so deep. I think my
Thank you. I
favorite line is
appreciate it.
probably, we choose where to go.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's a reminder that we all need because we talk about what we were given when we first
Hmm.
started. We weren't given this.
Sure.
We were born with this. We were born with that. Um, and that doesn't have to define where we go or what we choose to do. We have more power than we realize to create our own paths or choose a different one if we don't like the one that we're on currently. Um, and then you were Micah, man. Whew, you weren't kidding, man.
No,
She's got a set of pipes on her.
for real.
And she's
Every
only
time
18?
18. Every time, yeah, she's a freshman at Denison this year. So,
Wow.
yeah. Um, every time I listen to that song and her verse comes in, it's just immediate gut punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm floored.
Mhm.
I'm so grateful that she featured on this with me. It was so funny in the studio. So my friend Knox Fields, he is in an amazing band called Zone Zero. They're like a new metal band. Check them out. They're great. He's also in a hardcore band called Rejoice. They're amazing. I have very talented friends. Anyway, he did the principal recording for this record with me and did a lot of the editing too. Um, we were recording this, and then Micah came in for her verse, and did that like, oh, I hope I do okay, and then she goes in, one takes it, and Knox went, she's recording all your parts, right? I was like, you're not wrong. She should have done that. So
You're like, man, I really got to step up my game.
I mean, yeah, that song is what it is because of her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I was curious, the line where in the chorus you say it's okay not to know.
Hmm.
I'm sure that's something that you hear all the time from your clients as a therapist, I would imagine. And
Sure.
what do you usually do in those moments for yourself, or how do you guide the patients that you see or the clients that you see when they tell you things, you know, when they feel like they don't know, they don't know what to do. I mean, what?
Yeah. Well, okay. So the magic answer for most of these kinds of questions is it depends. Uh, because there's some people that say I don't know as a cop out. There's some people that say that as shorthand for I don't want to talk about this. Um, and then there's some people that it's shorthand for fuck you. So it's it's
Well, yeah,
it
yeah,
just kind of comes down to I have to assess the situation and kind of go from there. But for the people that genuinely like they really want to know and they don't, or they feel desperate or sad or helpless, that's when I tell them it's okay. You don't have to know everything. I mean, we live in a society, period. But we live in a society where these things are in our pockets. So like with these plus social media, it's really easy to think, well, I have to know everything at all times. And you don't. Why don't we all just become really good at like two things and then share our knowledge with other people, and then we get the good knowledge from the people that we know are good at that thing, and then we share the knowledge and we all benefit. We used to do that, right?
yeah,
Think.
yeah.
No, I'm not trying to be all like, well, back in the good old days, but I'm just saying I think
No,
that we're capable of that.
it's true.
So
More and more studies come out all the time talking about how, I guess this might be a little different, but multitasking. Saying how bad that is for our brains.
yeah.
Um, like I said, it's not exactly what we were just referring to, but what you said made me think of that.
Well,
You
the
know,
expectation that we should be doing all these things at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely detrimental because it's also not only is it detrimental, but it's also like celebrated the whole hustle culture myth.
Hmm.
It's like I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, sleeping's really
It's
important for you.
right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's that's what I'm realizing more too. Speaking
yeah,
of trying to move things around in your life, I'm trying to do that if I can,
good.
and realizing that, oh man, my life is gonna be a little short-lived if I don't do something about this soon,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. So it's a good reminder.
Good.
Um, so uh, it's Chaos Be Kind. That's the name of A Tiger Made of Lightning EP, which is
Hmm.
available now. Are there physical copies of it, or is it just on
No,
streaming right now?
it's just on streaming. You can purchase it on Bandcamp. So it's just Bandcamp slash or a Tiger Made of Lightning slash or dot Bandcamp.com. Just Google Bandcamp a Tiger Made of Lightning, you'll find it. Uh, so it's available for download there. It's also available for download on Apple Music, Amazon. It's available on all
All
the
the
streaming
play.
platforms, whether you want
Yeah.
to stream it or download it, either one. So,
Okay. Cool.
but Bandcamp's the most helpful. So
Yes, absolutely. Especially on they still do the Bandcamp Fridays, right?
they do. Yep,
Yeah. That's isn't that it's the first Friday of every month,
I believe
I
so.
think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So and that's coming up. It's the 27th
Hmm.
of October, so that would
Yeah.
be next Friday.
Hmm.
Um,
That's right.
so that would be a good time to buy this EP. Hint,
It
hint.
it
Just
sure would, Jacques. It sure would.
um, and are I know you just A Tiger Made of Lightning just officially had your first show
Yeah.
this month. Are there any other shows coming up or any future things happening that you want to plug?
Yes. So as of right now, we have a show booked on November 4th with at the A&R Bar in Columbus, Ohio, with Girl Fox, Courtney from Work, and Little Miami. Those are all some really fantastic local slash regional bands in our area. They're great. We are currently working on getting a couple other shows set up. We're looking to set up a show, a couple shows in Cleveland, hopefully, at the least one, if not more. Really want to play Cleveland. I really like it up there. Really want to play some shows in Dayton. I've never played a bad show in Dayton. It's a great place to do live music. And then I think we have a show set up for January that we'll announce in the next couple of weeks. So and
Awesome.
that'll also be in Columbus. So
Awesome.
yeah, so things are starting to happen. So it's starting to feel like a real thing again. So it's exciting.
Good, man. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Compared to when I was first introduced to you and A Tiger Made of Lightning to now, it's nice to see that it's grown and blossomed into something more than just you and
Yeah,
just it. I feel like
just
some
me in
of
my basement. Yeah,
I mean, like some of the new artists or whatever that have come out of the pandemic, it
oh
usually
yeah.
was just like, yeah, that was just a pandemic thing, you know.
Hmm.
So it's nice to see that some of the new artists that started in the pandemic are more than just, oh yeah, that was a pandemic thing, you know.
Yeah.
So
I really do think, not to beat a dead horse, but I really do think that that's the product of people just kind of saying, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to be as creative as I can, and whatever comes out comes out. Oh, I really like this. Oh, I found other people that really like this. Let's see where this goes.
yeah, I
And
agree.
so that's why I think there's been such great music that's come out this year.
Yep,
So
absolutely, man. I
yeah,
could not agree more with that.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's how I got my the band members for me was I put Exhausted out, and then I just kind of said, who in my scene do I really want to play with? Who's the best drummer I can think of? Who's the best bassist I can think of? Who are the best guitarists I can think of that would also have really good stage presence and make a good show? The first four people I asked all said yes.
Wow,
And then
you sounds like you got like an easy break there.
I
It's
really
usually not
did.
that simple.
I did not expect it to be that simple. And then when we practiced, it just felt organic. And then we rehearsed, and it felt organic. And then we got on stage, and like from note one, it was just like like that feeling where you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
So,
so I'm so excited to see where this goes.
so Alex, Colin.
Colin, Landon is the other guitarist, and then
Okay.
Steve is our drummer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so these were just all people you knew from the scene and playing
Hmm.
in other bands and such.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. You
Uh,
you definitely lucked out.
I did. I feel very fortunate. I feel very fortunate, very grateful. I'm just I'm just rolling with it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good for you, Mike. Thank you so much for spending some time with me here, and I can't wait to hear what's next. And I'm definitely going to be listening to "It's Chaos, Be Kind" on rotation now.
Oh, that means a
So
lot. Thanks, Jack. I really
yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah, we're starting to write EP2 probably early November, and hoping to have enough music to start recording winter, like maybe February. We'll
cool.
see. Knock on wood. We'll see. You know that big things coming soon or whatever. Um, but that's my goal. So I'm trying to shoot for that. And but I do have a couple things coming out in between then.
Okay,
So I featured on a cover of "The Taste of Gasoline" by Teenage Wrist, with a band from Columbus called Meryl Creep, who are great. They're a shoegaze band. So it
nice.
was just, yeah, they're really good. And then we're gonna put out a quiet version of Little Birds.
Okay,
We'll probably put that out probably around Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas time, somewhere in there. So
okay,
those are two things to look out for
yeah,
in terms of releases. And then, well, all the while I'll be writing and trying to get this second EP off the ground. So
cool, man. That's
yeah,
awesome. Well, I wish you a lot of luck with that.
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You have yourself a great rest of the night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so
All right.
much. I really appreciate your time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
All right, let's give Mike another round of applause. That was awesome. Really love all the stories and meanings behind a tiger made of lightning, and just learning more about Mike. Sounds like a great guy. Please, if you can, stream that EP by A Tiger Made of Lightning, their debut EP. It's Chaos, Be Kind. Again, A Tiger Made of Lightning.bandcamp.com. And also our wonderful sponsors at Pop Punk Takeout. Uh, it's a monthly subscription service, and what they do is they team up with amazing pop punk oriented artists all over the world, and they're like, what exclusive items can we put into a takeout box and send to someone's door once a month? That's literally what they do. They've teamed up with MXPX in recent months, also Chris DeMakes of Less Than Jake, Smart Punk Records, and so many other incredible artists. So go to poppunktakeout.com, subscribe today. There's two different versions or two different boxes, carry-out boxes that you can get, takeout boxes. There is the pizza one, which is the bigger version, and then there's a smaller one, which is a Chinese food takeout box. So it looks like you're getting fried rice for dinner, but it's got pop punk merch in it from amazing bands, obviously from all over the world. So poppunktakeout.com. You can also follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Pop Punk Takeout. And while you've got the socials open, you can follow us at Pop Punk Pizza Pod. We are on TikTok as well. I just created that one not too long ago. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with it, but for the meantime, give it a follow, and I'm trying to think of something creative that I can do on TikTok that won't be too much of a time suck. If you have any ideas, let me know. You can also buy merch, sign up for our mailing list, find out how you can become a sponsor of the podcast at poppunkpizzapod.com. We do live stream our episodes every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time on our Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube accounts, or you can catch the episode the following day on all podcast platforms. So thank you so much for watching, listening, however it is that you're listening to this podcast right now. It truly does mean the world to me. And I hope you have a wonderful Halloween. I am super stoked this year. I'm going to be a stormtrooper. My son's going to be Darth Vader, and we're going to take over the neighborhood with the Force. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. That just sounded so nerdy, but I don't care. I'm excited. So have a safe and happy Halloween, and I'll talk with you next week here on Pop Punk and Pizza.
Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya.